homers in the first 3 innings. Game 2 in the best-of-5 series is tonight at 6 at Dodger Stadium. The Angels informed manager Ron Washington that his contract will not be renewed for next season. The 74-year-old Washington missed more than half of this season after undergoing quadruple bypass heart surgery in June. The Angels finished last in the American League West with a 72-90 record under interim manager Ray Montgomery. Washington's dismissal leaves Dodgers manager Dave Roberts as the only African-American manager in Major League Baseball. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Hello, KBLA delegation. Tavis Smiley here. On Saturday, October 25th, LA Trade Tech becomes the epicenter of ideas that matter. The Left Coast Forum is bringing together voices that challenge, inspire, and illuminate with keynote presentations from people like noted economist Richard Wolff, the man who breaks down capitalism in ways that make sense to working folk like you and me, and Dr. Cornel West will be there, the brilliant philosopher and activist who never stops fighting for justice and speaking truth to power and to the powerless for that matter. So this isn't just another conference. This is where ideas get tested, where the conversations that shape our future begin. Multiple plenary sessions, dynamic speakers, real talk about the issues that impact our communities, and then some good food and a live band. Saturday, October 25th, LA Trade Tech, Left Coast Forum. The event is free and open to the public, but you must register at our KBLA1580.com website, where you can also peep the plenary topics. The future belongs to those who show up and engage. So don't just think about change, be part of the conversation that creates it. The Left Coast Forum is brought to you by the LA Progressive, the Empowerment Congress, Community Coalition, Partnership for Growth LA, Southwest Voter Registration Education Project, LA Care Health Plan, United Teachers Los Angeles, Black Progressive Action Coalition, St. John's Community Health, the National Lawyers Guild, the Weingart Foundation, and more. Space is limited, so if I were you, I'd register right now at KBLA1580.com. Your voice matters, your presence matters. We'll see you there.
Try to keep it coming. Things ain't always smooth, but I'll be alright as long as I can find the good. Yes, I will. Somehow I know that I can make it. You seem to like my style. Don't you worry, I'm gonna be around a while. Yes, I will. I'm just happy to see you talk to me back in style again.
Live from historic Leimert Park in Los Angeles, California, I'm Tavis Smiley, and I'm so glad to see you and me back in stride again. Before we get started with today's show, let me invite you to follow me on Facebook and Instagram at The Real Tavis Smiley, and get updates on X, that's formerly Twitter, at Tavis Smiley. By the way, should you miss any part of today's program or want to catch up on previous shows, you can always visit thetavismiley.show.com. That's thetavismiley.show.com, or wherever you get your podcast, and listen to the Tavis Smiley podcast version of this live program at your leisure. Another great show on tap for you today. In our second hour, two conversations up first.
San Francisco, Chicago, New York, Los Angeles, they're very unsafe places, and we're going to straighten them out one by one. And this is going to be a major part for some of the people in this room. That's a war, too. It's a war from within. I told Pete, we should use some of these dangerous cities as training grounds for our military.
Conversation with retired United States Army Major General Dana Petard. On the top side of hour two, over 800 generals were summoned to a military base in Virginia to sit and listen to Trump and Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth drone on. See what I did there? Drone on. Okay. Anyway, we'll let General Petard tell us what he heard yesterday. On the B side of our two, Shark Tank winner, CEO of Rock Innovation, and host of the radio program Entrepreneuring with come on, Tavis, Entrepreneuring with Raquel Graham. Raquel Graham comes live in studio today to unpack how this government shutdown is going to harm small business in America and how to navigate through the madness. We'll do that on the B side of our two. In our third hour,
we thought anything could happen. We thought nothing would ever change. We had no need for defenses or the good sense to be afraid. We didn't try to hold the moment. We weren't doing what we love. You don't gotta learn surrender when there's nothing to let go of. 'Cause we were always winning. 'Cause we all had superpowers, had a whole lot of nothing in our hands, but the whole wide world was ours. Take me back to 97, summer break and April showers, when life was good and all was right, when we thought dandelions were flowers.
his name is Matthew Grant, and I love his songwriting and his song styling. I think you will too, if you've never heard of Matthew Grant. Soul singer and songwriter Matthew Grant joins us live in studio with his keyboard in hour 3. But in this first hour, let's talk politics and more with political commentator and New York Times bestselling author John Fugelsang. His latest is titled Separation of Church and Hate. Separation of Church and Hate. A Sane Person's Guide to Taking Back the Bible from Fundamentalists, Fascists, and Flock-Fleecing Frauds. I wonder what this book is about. Separation of Church and Hate, A Sane Person's Guide to Taking Back the Bible from Fundamentalists, Fascists, and Flock-Fleecing Frauds. Say that fast a few times. Got to get John to come out of his shell. John, how are you today, sir?
Oh, Mr. Smiley, what an honor to be on your show. It's great to speak with you again, and thank you for having me, and thanks to all of your audience.
No, man, it's an honor to have you on the program. I got about a minute and a half, 2 minutes here at the outset, and then we got the rest of the hour to let you just fly as you will. But what's your sense of the moment that we find ourselves in right quick? The shutdown is in full effect.
It is. And the Democrats were in a tough position no matter what they did. Obviously, they don't want to be blamed for a government shutdown. That's 100% because the Republican Party is trying to take health care away from 12 to 20 million low-income and disabled American citizens. These are the people who boast of their Christian piety, but they can't stand the actual teachings of Christ. Matthew 25, Jesus commands individuals and nations to care for the poor and care for the sick. We're having a shutdown right now because the Republican Party has found a Messiah they prefer to woke Jesus. And the danger is, in the midst of this shutdown, how many career civil servants will Donald Trump destroy to try to gut our entire governmental infrastructure, gut the Bureau of Labor Statistics because he's tired of losing wars with math, and try to make sure he can rig an election next year. There's a lot of peril either way we go.
Oh, it's going to be a great hour. That's just his first response. And he did it in the time frame that I gave him. Our guest for the hour, and I'm glad about it, is John Fugelsang. The book, once again, is called Separation of Church and Hate, A Sane Person's Guide to Taking Back the Bible from Fundamentalists, Fascists, and Flock-Fleecing Frauds. Can't wait for the rest of this hour. But today happens to be October the 1st, and today is the 80th natal day of the late, great Donnie Hathaway. I'm going to celebrate Donnie Hathaway all 3 hours today. Give it to me, Miles Low.
Hang on, mistletoe, I'm gonna get to know you better this Christmas. And as we trim the tree, how much fun it's gonna be together. This Christmas, the fireside is blazing bright. We're caroling through the night, and this Christmas will be a very special Christmas for me. Presents and cards are here. My world is filled with cheer and me.
From California to the Carolinas,
Everybody's listening to Tavis. More when we come forward.
With Robinhood, not only can you trade individual stocks and ETFs, you can also seamlessly buy and sell crypto at low costs. Trade all in one place. Get started now on Robinhood. Trading crypto involves significant risk. Crypto trading is offered through an account with Robinhood Crypto LLC. Robinhood Crypto is licensed to engage in virtual currency business activity by the New York State Department of Financial Services. Crypto held through Robinhood Crypto is not FDIC insured or SIPC protected. Investing involves risk, including loss of principal. Securities trading is offered through an account with Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC, a registered broker-dealer.
Make a move into a home of your own. With City National Bank's Ladder Up Home Loan Grant, you could receive up to $20,000 that you never need to pay back. Use it toward your down payment, save on closing costs, or to buy down your mortgage rate. Find out more at cnb.com/ladderuphome. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Property must be in a qualifying market in California, New York, or New Jersey. Additional terms and conditions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. Terms are subject to change without notice. City National Bank is an equal housing lender. Member FDIC. NMLS number 536994.
Stop settling for weak sound. It's time to level up your game and bring the boom. Hit the town with the ultra-durable LG X Boom portable speaker and enjoy vibrant sound wherever you go. Elevate your listening experience to new heights because, let's be real, your music deserves it. The future of sound is now with LG X Boom. And for a limited time, save 25% at LG.com with code FALL25. Bring the boom. X Boom.
Do you have $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is letting everyone know about great debt relief options now available to help people with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of your credit card debt. Get a free debt relief consultation when you call 800-259-9922. 800-259-9922. That's 800-259-9922.
Hey, KBLA 1580 delegation, your health matters to us. We know that information is power, especially when it comes to prevention and treatment. That's why we're proud to introduce the brand new KBLA Health and Wellness Hub. This online space is built just for you, connecting our community to trusted health resources, culturally relevant care, and even access to diverse clinical trials and emerging therapies. Whether you're looking for information on common conditions, mental health support, or just want to stay on top of your wellness journey, we got you. And the best part, it's all on our website at kbla1580.com. Accessible, empowering, community-focused. So just go to kbla1580.com and click on the Health and Wellness Hub icon, because knowledge is power and your health is everything. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Sometimes he fails at fitting in,
but we're okay with that.
You're inside the Tavis Smiley Show.
Mother, there's too many of you crying. Brother, there's far too many of you crying. You know we gotta find a way to bring some love in here today. Father, We don't need to escalate. War is not the answer. 'Cause only love conquers. You know we gotta find a way to bring some love in here today.
One of the greatest live albums ever recorded at the Troubadour here in Los Angeles, where I sit at the bitter end in New York City. 1972, Donnie Hathaway live. As I said, one of the best live recordings ever made by any artist anywhere in the world. Today is the 80th natal day of Donnie Hathaway. We're going to squeeze in as best we can in and out of these great conversations with some amazing guests today. As much Donnie Hathaway as we can, celebrating one of the persons who I regard as the most underrated, undervalued, underappreciated artist of all time. Happy birthday, Donnie Hathaway. Our guest in this hour is John Fugelsang, actor, comedian, political commentator, host of the Sirius XM radio show Tell Me Everything, author of the new book, Separation of Church and Hate, A Sane Person's Guide to Taking Back the Bible from Fundamentalists, Fascists, and Flock-Fleecing Frauds. So, John, you came out the blocks fast, and I love it. And when you came out,
can I thank you for playing Donnie Hathaway today on his 80th birthday? Can I just echo what you said, that I will put that 1972 live album against any Hendrix at Monterey, Sinatra with Count Basie at the Sands, Sam Cooke at the Harlem Square Club, Bob Dylan and the band. It is that live album is so influential on so many artists today, and he is maybe the most underrated singer of all time. I live not far from the Essex Hotel, where he died way too young. And this is a guy whose work still has the power to influence so many artists born after he left us. His cover of John Lennon's Jealous Guy is one of the greatest covers by a Beatle ever. And I'm so thrilled you're honoring this man on his 80th, Tavis. Thank you.
Miles, you heard that Jealous Guy? Since John went there, let's give it to him coming out of the brick at the bottom. Jealous Guy. We'll give John some of that and give the audience some of that. Thank you. Yeah, just for you, man. So when you were talking moments ago, my mind went to you were breaking this thing down so beautifully and so eloquently. My mind went to Dr. King, who famously said many years ago, others have quoted him. Joe Biden had a variation of this phrase. A Biden administration official, as a matter of fact, on this program yesterday, made reference to it. But King had the original line: budgets are moral documents. That's MLK for you. That budgets are moral documents. You can say what you say, but you are who you are. And I can see who you are when you put your budget on the table. If Dr. King was right, John, and I believe he was, I think you believe he was as well, that budgets are in fact moral documents. What is this Republican budget that Democrats did not get behind? What's it say to us?
It's another amoral budget, and it says that they are very content to keep Jesus as a mascot and wave him around his head as a prop and exploit his name and his ministry to gain earthly power, because that's what conservative Christianity has been reduced to in our society, Tavis. They're not fighting for anything Jesus commands of his followers. They're not fighting to help the poor. They're not opposing a death penalty. They damn sure aren't welcoming the stranger, as God commands incessantly in the Hebrew scriptures. And Jesus says individuals and nations will be judged by how we do it. They are serving power. They don't fight for religious freedom. They're not fighting for Jesus. They're not fighting against Satan. They are fighting for conservative Christian domination of society. And what does that mean? Well, it means in every single one of Donald Trump's budgets from the first term, there were cuts to Medicaid and Social Security. That is their statement of a moral document. That is what they're going for. They do not agree with the Christian ethic of prioritizing the poor. They want to reward their donors. And we can talk all day about how far too many Democrats are in the same problem. But in this case, the Democrats have been really unified in admirable ways. Nobody wanted to be the party that shut down the government, but they're literally trying to throw up to 20 million souls off of healthcare. And as you know, Mr. Smiley, when that happens, those folks who will be uninsured, when they get sick, they're going to show up at the emergency rooms, which means local taxpayers fit the bill. This is the rope-a-dope socialism that the Republicans are trying to force on their unsuspecting voters. And they front-loaded it so that these devastating cuts won't happen until after next year's midterms. they're terrified, as you know, they're terrified of the Epstein files, and they literally have chosen to protect child rape over releasing these files. And they're terrified over the fact that these tariffs have raised prices in every sector. Tavis, they're so terrified, they're trying to rig it to cheat in Texas a year and a half early. This budget shows how deep their fear is and how deep their contempt for the American people and this Jesus they so loudly claim to follow really is.
I don't mean to put you inside their head, but since you wrote the book, Separation of Church and Hate, what does your research tell you about the ways in which those Christians, those so-called Christians who support Donald Trump, and there are many, including a bunch of black people,
not a bunch, or a few.
Yeah. Well, I say a bunch. I say a bunch more every year that he ran. Every time he's run, he's picked up more black votes. So you're right. There are a few,
not black women. Yeah, not black women. Still margin of error.
You're right about that. I'm looking at one right now, holding her fist in the air through the glass. I can see her right now. But so the number of black people voting for Donald Trump increased every time he ran. So you're right. There's more than just a few. But the point is, or the question is, what's your research say to you? What do your conversations with these persons say to you about the way these Christians justify their support of Donald Trump, given exactly what he's doing, as you just, again, eloquently laid out?
This is what Christianity has mutated to in our lifetimes, Tavis. And again, this has always been the struggle, right? My book is about how there's always been a struggle of Christian authoritarianism versus Christ followers. Going back to the Crusades, Christian authoritarians wanted this war, and Christ followers like St. Francis disobeyed and preached peace. The Christian authoritarianism brought us the doctrine of discovery and raping indigenous lands. And it was Father Bartolomeo de las Casas, Columbus's priest. The first act of protest by a white person in this hemisphere was a Catholic priest against what Columbus was doing to the indigenous. Christian authoritarianism propped up slavery. Christ followers like Frederick Douglass and Harriet Tubman and the Quakers pushed back. Christian authoritarianism propped up segregation, and Dr. King used the Bible to shame white America out of this apartheid. And throughout this whole, and in our own lives, how many of us have talked so many parents and grandparents out of so much homophobia in the last 30 years? This has always been the struggle of Christianity, especially in this country. The teachings of Christ versus power for us, with a lot of showy talk about Jesus. Donald Trump did not seduce our evangelical brothers and sisters by promising to do anything Jesus commands. He didn't say, I'm going to do all the things that the Lord commands, all of Christ's teachings, all of Christ's commands. No, he doesn't like them. He promised to put Christians on top. White evangelical Christianity, he played into the persecution narrative. They are 65% of the population, but they want to believe they're an oppressed minority. So he played that up. And he didn't promise anything Christ-like. He promised them the illusion of earthly power. Jesus's entire movement, if you read the book, is about servant leadership. The last shall be first, uplifting the marginalized. What can I do with my time on earth to help those less fortunate than me? You can't really get elected in much of this country on that message, and you sure can't open up a big for-profit megachurch either. So Donald Trump just promised, I'm going to put you first, the opposite of humility. And that's what it took for Christians who didn't mind his racist lies, who didn't mind cops being beaten for a lie on the Capitol steps.
Why so vulnerable? Why so vulnerable to that kind of message?
Because they're not hearing anything opposing it. Democrats, God bless them, have ceded religion and the cross to the right the same way they've ceded the flag. I mean, it's not hard for a Democrat to stand up there and say, this is what the Bible actually says. The only thing Donald Trump and Jesus have in common are they spent a lot of time around prostitutes, and they both used ghostwriters, right? I mean, if you're following both Trump and Jesus, what I know is you haven't read either of their books, okay? And the media is not going to help us because the media is terrified of asking a follow-up question. You know this, sir. You're a real journalist, but you know. When did the media ever ask Mike Pence, when did Jesus drive the gay wedding cakes out of the temple? They're terrified to engage on scripture. Democrats are terrified. It's a third rail. Media is terrified of it. So it's going to come down to us in our jobs, in our families, our communities, our social media feeds to remind these people that hate is not a Christian value. And I was on CNN with our pal Scott Jennings not too long ago, and he's going off on the illegals. And I call them Christian refugees because that pisses off the right bigots. And it's more accurate. And I just said, the God of the Hebrew scriptures commands us to welcome the stranger and treat the alien as one of our own. Jesus says in Matthew 25, individuals and nations will be judged on how we welcome the stranger. So why should I listen to you and Donald Trump and reject God and Jesus? Like, we've allowed them to frame every moral issue around this Jesus-free right-wing take. And it's up to the rest of us to use our First Amendment to call them out. If they're going to claim that they follow the Bible to reshape our entire culture, we're allowed to see if they really mean it.
Yeah. So I wish I had time. I'm looking at my board up, and because it's on my head right now so quickly, I don't have time to even have him pull it up. But I think, John, you will recall this, and certainly our audience will recall this. I got a really bright audience, and I played a clip on this program just last week, as a matter of fact, in a conversation. The clip I played was Barack Obama. Barack Obama in Boston at the convention where John Kerry becomes the nominee. And this is Barack Obama's coming out party, if ever there was one. The nation got to know him that night after he gave that speech. Great speech in many respects. I had my issues with it. Sure. But there's a line in that speech, and I'm paraphrasing. But
I know the one.
You know where I'm going. He says, trying to make this point, that there are no red states, there are no blue states. There's only the United States of America. Wrong, Mr. President. But anyway, he goes on to say, and I'm paraphrasing here, that in the blue state, in the what's the line? He says, I know he says.
We worship an awesome God.
We worship an awesome God in the blue states.
I remember it.
And we don't want law enforcement poking around our libraries in the red states. That's the paraphrase. We serve an awesome God. We worship an awesome God in the blue states. That's Obama at the convention. Round of applause. I mean, just massive applause when he utters this line. But here you come telling me that Democrats are scared to go there. Why are they scared?
I think they are.
Why are they scared?
I think they are. I think they're terrified of the abortion issue. I think they're terrified of being called baby killers. I think that the right wing has used the abortion issue for 2 generations, for 45 years, to beat the Democrats into spiritual cowardice. I mean, when Roe v. Wade became the law of the land, the most controversial thing about it, Tavis, was how not controversial it was. No one cared. That was a Catholic thing, right? The Southern Baptist Convention voted to affirm abortion rights a year after Roe v. Wade. Jerry Falwell never mentioned abortion in a sermon until 5 years later. The right-wing Christian movement of the 70s, the ex-segregationists like Jerry Falwell, their big issue back then was tax-exempt status for universities that still practice segregation. They were going after Jimmy Carter's IRS for going after private schools, because guys like Falwell had opened whites-only schools, and Jimmy Carter went after the Mormons for the same thing. You don't get tax-exempt status if you're going to practice institutionalized racism. That was their big issue. It didn't test well. And so by the end of the 70s, they began to embrace criminalizing abortion rights. And within a few years, Christianity became synonymous with criminalizing abortion rights. Now, for 2 generations, we've groomed American conservative Christians to vote against everything Jesus ever talked about, to criminalize abortion, which Jesus never talked about. He was very against the death penalty, spoke against it many times, never mentioned abortion. The Bible's not against abortion. I'm not saying Jesus is pro-abortion. I'm not saying Jesus would work as a clinic escort on the weekends. What I'm saying is God never saw fit to have Moses or Christ or Paul or Elijah or any of the prophets talk about the penalties for ending a pregnancy. Judaism doesn't ban it. Abortions are legal and free in Israel right now. They got the followers of Christ to reject everything Christ talked about by talking about something Christ never talked about. And that has been the scam that has been run on us for 2 generations. And then you throw in that every decade, there's a new minority. Conservative Christians are told to hate. 20 years ago, it was Muslims. It's usually undocumented immigrants. And right now, it's transgender people and undocumented workers.
We'll talk more about spiritual cowardice when we come forward. I love that phrase from John Fugelsang. But I want to ask him point blank, given all of his brilliance and eloquence that you're hearing loud and clearly in this conversation, is healthcare a winning issue? The government is now officially shut down, as you all know. Who gets blamed for this shutdown? The polls are divided about this, about who's going to get the blame. I quoted Newt Gingrich yesterday on this program, and his piece dropped at the New York Times saying that Democrats are going to regret this. They may not regret it if they can stay on message, and they may not regret it if healthcare is the issue, if it is the winning issue that they think it is. And you've heard John lay it out nicely. Too bad the Democrats don't speak like John Fugelsang. They may not be in the hot mess they're in right now. I digress on that for now. More with John when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
This is getting good. Yeah, man. Tavis Smiley continues when we come forward.
I'm Jamie Eswick with BIN News Now. We start with the government shutdown. Democrats and Republicans weren't able to reach a deal over the funding proposal. This could mean that government employees will be furloughed. We're talking about tens of thousands of workers. So here's the deal. Republicans want Democrats to open the government back up before striking the big deal. But Democrats say they want Medicaid cuts reversed, according to CNN. Let's hear from Senate Majority Leader John Thune, followed by Black House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, both via CNN.
The negotiation happens when the government's open.
Republicans are unserious at this point.
Well, it's official. Hurricane Imelda is here, and it may have claimed its first East Coast victim. A riptide pulled a man into the ocean in Florida. Meteorologists say the storm is not expected to make landfall in the U.S. Finally, prosecutors say they want Sean P. Diddy Combs to serve at least 11 years in prison. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Your unstoppable future begins here. Mount St. Mary's University LA has a 100-year track record of elevating lives and careers. 2 campuses, undergraduate and graduate degrees. Discover how unstoppable you can be at msmu.edu.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Dodgers had 15 hits, including 5 home runs last night to dominate Cincinnati 10-5 in Game 1 of their first-round playoff series. Shohei Ohtani and Teoscar Hernandez each homered twice. It was not a good homecoming for Cincinnati starter Hunter Green. The LA native was tagged for 3 homers in the first 3 innings. Game 2 in the best-of-5 series is tonight at 6 at Dodger Stadium. The Angels informed manager Ron Washington that his contract will not be renewed for next season. The 74-year-old Washington missed more than half of this season after undergoing quadruple bypass heart surgery in June. The Angels finished last in the American League West with a 72-90 record under interim manager Ray Montgomery. Washington's dismissal leaves Dodgers manager Dave Roberts as the only African-American manager in Major League Baseball. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
I'm Reverend Gerald, the life coach. Is someone you love struggling with addiction and mental illness? Is improving your family's health important? Want to leave a legacy that your family can grow? Are you ready to enhance your perception of life experiences? Then wake up weekends at 7 a.m. with Urban Family Focus and get the wisdom, opportunity, resources, and motivation to live your best life. Join the conversation on Urban Family Focus Saturday and Sunday at 7 a.m.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black. This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
Exhausted with applying for jobs online and never hearing back? With Express Employment Professionals, experts in your community are dedicated to helping you find a job. With more than 870 locations, there's always an office in your area. Start at expresspros.com to find an office near you.
Paid for by government.com. Did you know the United States Mint has issued a new Morgan silver dollar coin in proof condition for the first time? Not only that, they are also minted in 99.9% pure silver for the first time ever in history. Coin experts are calling this an amazing opportunity for anyone that knows the enduring popularity of Morgans. But you must hurry. Only 400,000 of these legal tender silver dollars were issued. These first ever Morgan silver dollars are brand new with stunning mirror-like finish, minted by the iconic San Francisco Mint. Call now and you're guaranteed a new first ever 99.9% pure silver proof Morgan dollar. To learn more, call 1-800-973-9717. If you order now, you will receive a free coin collector bonus pack, a $25 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-973-9717 now. to secure your new Morgan silver dollars before they are gone. That's 1-800-973-9717.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $200-$300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code COOL to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code COOL for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code COOL for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Freedom is an endless meeting. So let's get back to it with Tavis Smiley.
I was dreaming of the past, and my heart was beating fast. I began to lose control. I began to lose control. I didn't mean to hurt you, and I'm sorry I made you cry. I didn't want to hurt you, no I didn't.
Man, that's so good.
Just a jealous guy.
Just to show you how nicely I play in the sandbox, if you do right by me, I'll do right by you. John Fugelsang is killing it today in this first hour. And since he mentioned that track by Donnie Hathaway, I thought I'd give him what he asked for. Today is the 80th birthday of Donnie Hathaway. And so we're weaving in and out of these conversations today as best we can, give you as much Donnie as we can. So, John, tell me why you love that track so much.
I mean, this is maybe my favorite song from John Lennon's Imagine album, More Than Imagine. Youssou N'Dour does a gorgeous cover of this in Senegalese. But honestly, Donnie Hathaway's version came out in '72. The song was a new song when it was released. It had only been out like less than 2 years. And John Lennon wrote this beautiful song, but Donnie Hathaway transforms it. There's no version like what you'll hear on that live album in '72. And I'm so grateful to you for playing it, man. Yep. It's just, and it gets better as it goes on. This guy just poured himself into every lyric. One of the greatest singers we ever had. And he began his career, you know, working for Curtis Mayfield. He started like playing instruments and producing for the Curton label. I mean, the guy's whole career is incredible. And another clear case that we need to have single-payer health care with mental health care for all Americans more than ever, because with that kind of care available, maybe Donnie would still be with us enjoying this day.
I love me some John Fugelsang, actor, comedian, political commentator, host of the Sirius XM radio show, Tell Me Everything, author of the new book, Separation of Church and Hate, A Sane Person's Guide to Taking Back the Bible from Fundamentalists, Fascists, and Flock-Fleecing Frauds. If you missed the first half hour of this conversation, you missed a dandy conversation. I invite you to check out the podcast later tonight when it's posted. That's why we do the podcast. If you miss any part of this conversation or any conversation I ever have, always check out the podcast posted same day, because you've missed a great conversation already with John Fugelsang. So, John, let me get the audience right quick here. We're talking about the government shutdown, of course, that is fully underway right about now. Let me just give you some quick numbers here. And I was looking at these numbers and something jumped out at me, and John will take my point here in just a second when I shut up. So NASA, 15,000 people furloughed immediately.
Yeah.
Follow these numbers. NASA, 15,000 furloughed. Department of State, 16,600 furloughed immediately. Department of Commerce, 34,000 furloughed immediately. Department of Health, 32,000 furloughed right now.
That's right.
Wait for it, John. Department of Defense, 335,000 people furloughed, with 406,000 still on the job. What does that say to you about the size of the Department of Defense?
Well, you nailed it right there, Tavis. And again, those folks in the DOD, at least they are going to be furloughed. A lot of the other civil servants you mentioned will not be furloughed this time. They will be fired. This is what Donald Trump wanted. He wants to blame Democrats for this, but he also wants to use it to gut the federal government and fire tens of thousands more Americans, because we have learned our Republican brothers and sisters take delight in Americans they don't like losing their jobs. That kind of suffering is a source of joy for some folks. But the whole kicker about this bill of his is cutting emergency Medicaid funding by $28 billion over 10 years. That's what we're fighting about. That's less than 1% of Medicaid spending. That's the whole thing. Like, we're shutting down the government over crumbs. And the big lie that our MAGA friends are using to shut down democracy is that somehow undocumented immigrants are getting what they call Cadillac Medicare to illegal aliens. They're pushing this lie all over the place, and they have no solution. They have no policy arguments. So they're more or less saying, hey, there's brown people stealing your Band-Aids. And the reality is undocumented immigrants cannot get Medicaid. They can't get ACA subsidies. They can't sign up for federally funded health insurance. The only thing they can get is emergency Medicaid, which is not Cadillac care. It's hospitals not letting sick human beings bleed out on the sidewalk. And that law was signed by Ronald Reagan. So this whole thing is all built on lies. And what they're really saying is, we would love to cut healthcare for everyone. But while we're at it, let's invent a scary story about Mexicans stealing your Medicare. And while they're doing this, Trump is posting his little racist AI fakes of Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries in sombreros with mariachi music. I mean, the president's like a racist TikTok feed at this point. And all Democrats are saying is extend the ACA tax cuts, the credits that keep health insurance affordable for 20 million of us, and undo the Medicaid cuts that would throw 10 million sick people into the streets. That's the whole ask.
These
Christians can't be bothered.
Is that a winning issue? Is healthcare the winning issue?
Yes, but it is a winning issue, just like education. Remember, back in 2018, the Democrats crushed the Republicans in the midterms, not by talking about Russia, by talking about healthcare and education. And trust me, I mean, by the time we get to January and these folks start getting 2027 and 20 million people up to are being thrown off healthcare, it's going to be hard to play dumb about it. They think it's going to be all just poor people they'll never have to come in contact with. This will affect every family in America. People will know. The Republicans are terrified, and they know that Donald Trump can't help them save their jobs in next year's midterms.
So people are making bets already, John Fugelsang, who gets blamed for this shutdown, no matter how long it lasts.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know what's going to happen. The right wing is going to blame Democrats. The Democrats, as organized as they can be, will try to shout above the din. History will blame Trumpism. History will blame the Democrats. Will blame the Republicans. I'm sorry, Tavis. But as for now, it's just going to be a lot of screaming back and forth. And tragically, our Republican friends consume news that doesn't want them to have all the facts.
Yep. Let me ask another question that's a bit more difficult to predict. But the longer this goes, who gets hurt most? And I'm not talking about the American people. I mean politically.
Oh, Trump.
Yeah.
The longer it goes, the more it hurts Trump. Because the longer it goes, it's just like the Epstein files. The longer it goes, the more obvious it's going to be what's really going on here, except the Epstein files doesn't affect too many of us. You know, like they literally, Mike Johnson, for all of his piety, held off in swearing in Representative Grijalva this week just so he could protect wealthy child rapists. To me, that's a pretty winning message for Democrats. I'm waiting for them to get more blunt in their language. But for this, as the suffering piles up, no one's going to blame Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer outside of the MAGA cult. That's 1/3 of us. This is going to do what COVID did. A lot of people in the 1/3 that likes to be apathetic and not pay attention are going to be pulled into the arena. A lot of people who like to be apolitical are going to force to be political, and they are going to show up next year.
Yep. Here's a quick question from the audience. One of our listeners. I got a bunch of them coming in, John. I ain't got time to get to all of them. Let me read this now. Not that you need time to think. Not that you need time to think about it. Let me read it now. Watching my clock, I'll let you respond to it when we come forward. So, Tavis, why can't the Democrats, Gavin Newsom style, visually engaging, stylized videos that meet people where they are, start pushing out short videos or posts saying exactly what John just said? The Democrats have a messaging problem. It does not matter if the flood was coming and the Democrats knew the date. they wouldn't be able to get people on the damn ark. They don't know how to communicate. We'll let John respond to that when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
Generous listening. Charitable listening. It's why everybody wants to talk to Tavis. The conversation continues when we come forward.
Hello, KBLA delegation. Tavis Smiley here. On Saturday, October 25th, LA Trade Tech becomes the epicenter of ideas that matter. The Left Coast Forum is bringing together voices that challenge, inspire, and illuminate, with keynote presentations from people like noted economist Richard Wolff, the man who breaks down capitalism in ways that make sense to working folk like you and me, and Dr. Cornel West will be there, the brilliant philosopher and activist who never stops fighting for justice and speaking truth to power and to the powerless, for that matter. So this isn't just another conference. This is where ideas get tested, where the conversations that shape our future begin. Multiple plenary sessions, dynamic speakers, real talk about the issues that impact our communities, and then some good food and a live band. Saturday, October 25th, LA Trade Tech, Left Coast Forum. The event is free and open to the public, but you must register at our KBLA1580.com website, where you can also peep the plenary topics. The future belongs to those who show up and engage. So don't just think about change, be part of the conversation that creates it. The Left Coast Forum is brought to you by the LA Progressive, the Empowerment Congress, Community Coalition, Partnership for Growth LA, Southwest Voter Registration Education Project, LA Care Health Plan, United Teachers Los Angeles, Black Progressive Action Coalition, St. John's Community Health, the National Lawyers Guild, the Weingart Foundation, and more. Space is limited, so if I were you, I'd register right now at KBLA1580.com. Your voice matters, your presence matters. We'll see you there.
My ride smells just right, just right, just right, just right.
Y'all gotta try that Febreze car.
Just right, just right, just right. Yeah. La 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 la. Yeah. Pick up to 40 days of consistency. All over Febreze car clips right on your vent. You know my car's my happy place. Keep that smile on my face. When it smells just right, just right, just right. Yeah. Breathe happy Febreze. La 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 la.
We ask seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up. Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number to put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone. And should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement. Check your statement every month.
If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
Call your Senior Medicare Patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
Sometimes he fails at fitting in, but we're okay with that. You're inside the Tavis Smiley Show.
An angel whispered to me when I woke this morning that I would find heaven by my side. And there you were, you angel, heaven in the morning, laying in my arms and in my life. And I reached this decision, I love you, my religion, heaven in my soul and in my eyes. No one could ever change my mind, oh no. I got you here, right by my side. You are my love, you are my heaven.
It's Donnie Hathaway's 80th birthday, and we're doing our best to celebrate some of the best of his catalog, all 3 hours of our program today. My time is getting tight, John. I've got issues with Gavin Newsom here and there, but is Gavin Newsom showing Democrats what to do, how to do it, how to show up?
Yeah, he is. But again, we got to give him some patience because Gavin Newsom, learned to read the room this year, Mr. Smiley. You'll recall he spent the first part of this year trying to pitch us a reality show called Dancing with Fascists. And I didn't need to see Gavin Newsom giving Steve Bannon a pedicure. I don't know about you.
Yeah.
But, that whole, hey, let's suck up to fascists and then they'll like us and not steal our lunch money. It doesn't really work that way.
Yeah.
But look, Governor Newsom, I will always give Democrats credit when they get it right. He read the room. And now look how much he's inspiring people. I will tell you, these Democrats who promise accountability, who promise hands-on Bibles of cabinet members in front of cameras come January of 2027, they're going to be the ones who primary the incumbents. They're going to be the ones who get the most votes, and they're going to be the ones who raise the most funds. If fundraising is so important, these Democrats better realize now that people want to see them fight against this. They don't want to see this thing come back in another 4 years in an uglier form.
Our remaining moments with John Fugelsang when we come forward. The book is called Separation of Church and Hate, A Sane Person's Guide to Taking Back the Bible from Fundamentalists, Fascists, and Flock-Fleecing Frauds. A final word about the text when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
Why does Tavis say when we come forward? Because he's not going back. And you don't have to go back either. Forward ever, backward never. More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminds you, when we fight, we win. The Youth Justice Coalition is challenging America's addiction to incarceration and discrimination. YJC works to dismantle policies leading to mass incarceration, law enforcement violence, and the school-to-prison pipeline. Their approach? Transformative justice, community intervention, free LA high school, legal defense, and system monitoring. YJC promotes safety without relying on prisons. Their goal? Prevent system contact and help people exit the system through direct action, advocacy, and education. Want to get involved or need help? Call 323-235-4243. That's 323-235-4243. Join YJC in creating change. When we fight, we win. KBLA Talk 1580, your voice for justice. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
If you're like me, 60 and retired, making ends meet, especially here at the supermarket and drugstore, is tough. I'm so blessed to have found benefitscheckup.org. It's a free and confidential website from the National Council on Aging that connected me to $1,200 a year in programs that help pay for food, medicine, utilities, and more. Maybe it can help you. benefitscheckup.org.
You know where you want to go in life, and City National Bank can help. City National knows the dedication it takes to build your vision for the future into a reality, and our team is here for you. We have a wide range of options to help, from personal savings accounts to interest-bearing money market savings accounts and more, all designed to help you get where you want to go. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Learn more at cnb.com. City National Bank is a subsidiary of Royal Bank of Canada, member FDIC.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the Relief Hotline at 800-515-4493, 800-515-4493, 800-515-4493.
And the top-rated African-American talk show host in the nation, according to Talkers Magazine. You're tapped in with Tavis Smiley right now.
Tavis Smiley and John Fugelsang, actor, comedian, political commentator, host of the Sirius XM radio show Tell Me Everything, and author of the book Separation of Church and Hate, A Sane Person's Guide to Taking Back the Bible from Fundamentalists, Fascists, and Flock-Fleecing Frauds. So, John,
I think I wrote it just to hear you say the title so many times, Mr. Smiley.
I love saying it, man. I love saying it's a great title. So I got 4 minutes left, and I want to yield it to you. What is to be done about this spiritual cowardice that you referenced earlier, John?
I mean, look, it's going to be up to us. We can't wait for the Democrats to start picking up a Bible and calling out these hypocrites. These Christian nationalists, these fundamentalists, they're the ones who ruin all the world's great religions, right? It's always the extreme right of every religion. The Muslims, the Hebrews, the Hindus, the Christians, they're the ones pushing second-class citizenship. They're the ones with the sex hang-ups. They're the ones saying violence is okay if my side does it. They're the ones always focusing on punishment, never on healing. And these right-wing Christians are trying, as they ever have, to push a narrow, Jesus-free version of conservative Christian dominance into every level of our culture. We can't wait for the media to ask the tough questions or for the Democrats to fight back. We've got to do it. It's going to take us in our jobs and our social media and our families to convince our right-wing Christian friends and loved ones that Donald Trump doesn't fight for a single damn thing Jesus talks about in the Bible, and hate is not a Christian value.
I haven't heard your commentaries. I want to hear right now. What has been your read of the way that these Christian nationalists have rallied around Charlie Kirk in the aftermath of his murder?
Look, what happened to Mr. Kirk was awful and tragic and unholy, and I wish to God he was still here. I've dealt with Charlie Kirk. He came after me a few times. He wasn't a fan of mine. I was hoping that our right-wing friends would come over to our side and say, hey, maybe we should have some gun legislation that makes it harder for people to get murdered. But they're not there yet, even after this destructive killing. I've spent a lot of time looking to see where Turning Point USA talks about helping the poor, where they talk about the need for us as a nation to care for the sick as Christ commands. I don't see anything about welcoming the stranger. I see a lot of no room at the inn and the racist illegals and all that. They love the death penalty. They love rich people not paying taxes. They don't fight for the stuff Jesus talks about. And so I released a book about how to take down Christian nationalism with nonviolence and scripture and humor. The day before, another coward took down a famous Christian nationalist with violence and a bullet. And that's no way to do it. I mean, Dr. King's way is the only way, Gandhi's way, Jesus's way. We can't hate these people. We just can't. Hate makes us stupid. Twitter proves that every day. But we have to beat them. In a democracy, we have to beat them. And if they're going to use the Bible as camouflage, I wrote this book to be camouflage removal, because you don't need to believe in the Bible as absolute literal fact to use it against these destructive frauds.
I don't need to ask this question point blank, but I will anyway, because you've exhibited it all throughout this conversation. But what is the role of humor in a moment, a serious and unfunny moment like this?
I mean, John Lennon said, the only things fascists can't handle are humor and nonviolence. You get violent, they know how to handle you. Donald Trump passed this stupid executive order on flag burning that changes no laws. He did it because he wants First Amendment guys to burn flags so he can show it on Newsmax and shore up his base who care about child rape and are a bit nervous about this. He's trying anything he can do. He wants troops in Memphis and Portland to throw a rock at National Guardsmen. He thrives on the division. And that's what the rest of us have to reject with nonviolence. And we have to use the Bible to take these people down, because calling them names is only going to make them more convinced they're right. And they'll just say you're on the side of Satan. But I find if you engage them with scripture, Tavis, even if they don't agree with you, you'll get farther showing them where Christ was not an immigrant-hating homophobe than if you just call them immigrant-hating homophobes.
And there is the role of humor in a moment such as this.
You got to. I mean, look, Billy Wilder said, if you're going to tell the truth, it's funny or they'll kill you. And in my line of work, humor is the lubrication that lets a lot of truths go down.
There you go. I'm glad to have him on my show, but he has his own. If you want to check him out on Sirius XM, it's called Tell Me Everything. Actor, comedian, commentator, and author. I get a chance to say it one more again. Separation of Church and Hate, a sane person's guide to taking back the Bible from fundamentalists, fascists, and flock-fleecing frauds. John, I've enjoyed this even more than I thought I would, and I didn't think that was possible. I appreciate you, man.
Mr. Smiley, I had the great honor of interviewing you in my current TV show and my Sirius XM show. It's a delight to be here with your brilliant audience. Thank you and your team for having me.
Thank you for coming on this program. More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Jamie Eswick with BIN News Now. We start with the government shutdown. Democrats and Republicans weren't able to reach a deal over the funding proposal. This could mean that government employees will be furloughed. We're talking about tens of thousands of workers. So here's the deal. Republicans want Democrats to open the government back up before striking the big deal. But Democrats say they want Medicaid cuts reversed, according to CNN. Let's hear from Senate Majority Leader John Thune, followed by Black House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, both via CNN.
The negotiation happens when the government's open.
Republicans